Three-time Super Bowl champ, Super Bowl MVP, Hall of Famer Steve Young back on the program. What was it like to play behind a bad offensive line?
Life is too short, Dan. Um, it like you in football, like you need a lot of help to be a great quarterback or even a good quarterback or competent. You need help, and you need it from the owner down, and especially in today's game. And if you're behind a bad offensive line, you can't be yourself. You can't show who you are. You can scrape it through. I always said, no matter how bad it is, if you're going to be really good, you're going to figure out a way to send up a flare. You'll send up some smoke signals that tells people I can still play. I promise. I can't show you right now, but I watch for those smoke signals for people, guys that are on terrible teams like Daniel Jones. I mean, like you watch guys like, nope, they can't. They like Russell Wilson who went to Denver. I'm like, wait, where's the smoke signal? Tell me you know what you're doing. Tell me you know what's going on. I was like, no, I got nothing for you, bro. And so I think behind a bad line, there's nothing good that can not much good that can happen, but you can let me know that you're still competent. You still can be good. You just got to need more help.
Yeah, but I don't know what to make of Bryce Young. Like, it's not fair to him, but I
Yeah.
don't know if he can play.
Yeah, it's the classic conundrum, right? Because you get into you're a high draft pick, you come out of all the success in college. You feel like you should be really good and you don't get any help and now you don't know. And then you lose your job and you bounce around the league and then some guys never really get straightened up. And that's the somewhat the curse of being the number one pick. But if he was again, do you think he sent you some smoke signals? He's put up some flares that he can like get it right. I can take care of you. I'm going to say I'm not sure that he has, and that's what you have to wonder about.
When did you learn that there was only so much you could do on a play before you kind of have to take the loss on that play? Whether, because in college, you could improvise, extend a play, you were more athletic, but you get to the pros, and eventually you have to learn how to go, nope, not going to happen on this play.
Well, again, the prototypes have changed, Dan. I was the oddity back in the day. Now, I would be prototype now. And so the challenge that you just asked is the question of every quarterback. Justin Fields last year when I talked to him, all the guys, Patrick Mahomes every week's got to figure out when do I'm Superman. I can, call the play, I'll get the most out of it, and then I got another play for you, and then maybe another one at the tail end when I can throw it down the field 80 yards on the run. When do I quit? What does Josh Allen say? Okay, I know they ask too much of me. I'm Superman every week. When is too much? And that is the 80, $60 million question now at quarterback. And the guys that have figured out, and I think Patrick has done that. Patrick went back to school in 2000. Andy Reid, said to him, "Hey, Patrick, what you really need to do is focus on the play that's called in the huddle, get every inch of that, and then go do something else, and then throw it away." And so that discipline that Patrick put into his game, I think made him the best in the league. And there's others that had the capability of being the best in the league that haven't figured out that discipline. And that's and people say, why not? How it's so obvious. Well, you know, that's the challenge of the toughest job in sports is to try to figure out when and how that story ends. It's easier for guys like Peyton Manning, Dan Marino, Tom Brady. They don't have all the options, and so they can be more disciplined much more quickly.
But so you rushed for 4,000 yards. How much of that was by design when you were playing?
None, none of it. But yet that's where you get capitulation from defenses. That's where in today's game, especially, you have to. You saw Caleb at the end of the game yesterday. You saw CJ at the end of the game. It's like the NBA. You play around 3.5 quarters, and all of a sudden there's the finishers, the guys that can throw it all over the field, big, strong, athletic guys, and then they have to get on the horse. They have to go out and take those free yards. They're out there, and if you're not gonna take them, it's just gonna make it that much more hard. That's what Patrick Mahomes, he didn't play well, but he made some key first down runs, some things that really moved the chains, made the difference, and that's out there. And if you can't do it, you really can't thrive in today's game. But if you don't, if you're not capable of getting and like the game has changed so much that they're free yards out there for quarterbacks. You got to go get them like college used to be. And but yet you have to be in college, Dan. There's runners who can throw, and there's a lot of them. In the pros, you got to be a thrower. You got to be a sophisticated passer of the football who can run. And that's the challenge of today's game is who can everyone can run. Most of the guys that are being drafted today high, they're all big, strong guys that can run. But can you become a sophisticated passer of the football?
Hall of Famer Steve Young joining us. You didn't slide though.
I always thought sliding was more dangerous. And the only thing with Josh Allen, Bevan said, Josh Allen, he's too crazy. He's got to calm it down. He's going to get hurt. I agree. There's some things he does at the end, the last move of when the journey is over. Emmett Smith used to famously saying, "You got to know when the journey's over." And Josh, he extends that little bit that puts himself at risk. I always felt the safest on the field, out of the pocket, on the run, make it my own way, and then how to get down to the ground, how to make sure that you get down there safely. Sliding, you get less yards and you get pounded in the face. Like I'm not doing that. Like you can always find a safe way to the ground if you want to. And the most dangerous place on the field for quarterback is standing in the pocket trying to deliver. Now that is the job. That's what I tried to prove to people, Dad, for 18 years that I'm not a scrambler. I am an efficient, sophisticated passer of the football. And because I could run around, they wouldn't capitulate. I don't know who they are, but they wouldn't.
I'm going to preface this by saying I know this might be difficult for you to answer, but you did go through concussions. Can you put yourself into a situation at his age where you've had multiple concussions and now you have to look at a bigger picture?
I can't put myself oddly, I can't put myself into a spot because what I'm witnessing, and again, the brain is the last frontier of medical science. You go to the world's greatest neurologist and ask them how, should I play, should I not play? They can't look inside. And all is that it's kind of all symptomatic. And how do you feel? What we witnessed? What is the reaction? How devastating were the hits? I always had what I would call grade one, where I felt a little dizzy. The next day I woke up and I wanted to sleep a little bit more, and then I was fine. So I never had what we witnessed on the field the other day with Tua, where you've got the fencer's pose and you're definitely knocked out, and it happens multiple times, and people would come to me through the years, "Hey Steve, you've had concussions. What, I can't remember my wife's name. I can't remember where I parked my car. I can't sleep now for 3 weeks or now 5 months. I'm sitting in the basement." I'm like, "Bro, I don't know what to tell you. That was never me. And so I don't know how to help you. I can tell you that if that happened to me, where you're in these dramatic situations on the field where you had these obviously severe concussions, now that I've lived a long time, I would scream I would scream back, be super careful. It doesn't mean, look, the problem is you can go to all the neurologists and they'll say, well, I would if I were you, or it does seem like the best idea. And nobody's going to say go play because that's dangerous. And two is now in a place where it's double dangerous because not only is his health, but everyone on the street's going to be, I mean, old women will walk up to him and grab his cheek. Please don't play anymore. Please don't do it. Please, for, we just can't watch it anymore. So there's that social pressure as well. So as you try to make a great decision that is going to be on them, and especially at a young age when you feel like you've got your whole career in front of you, very, very difficult. But what you're witnessing seems to be pretty severe concussions. And I'm not an expert, but even the experts will say that just seems they're loaded on top of each other. It feels super heavy and something he should be super careful about.
But were you more susceptible to concussions after having?
No, I always believed that there were people like, injury prone people where their bodies just can't hold up to the rigor. It was nothing against them. Their bodies just kind of betrayed them. I do feel that about heads injuries as well. It seemed like some guys can just get bounced around and never have any issues, and some guys just seem to be susceptible to them. So I think there is that genetic part of it that's possible. I don't know. I was probably in the middle, I guess, but it does. Yeah, but it's hard to say. The hits are the hits, and it's super dangerous. and there is a long life ahead of people. And when you're 25 or trying to make decisions about your career, and it's the thing you're best at, Dan. When you're world famous for a skill that you have that's part genetically given and part that you've kind of earned, and now you have to leave it, and the next day you're not good at anything else. It's not, nobody wants to be there. It's super difficult to make that kind of a
Well,
decision.
there's all
When
this money though too, Steve. We're talking
Yeah, but I mean,
100
again,
million.
yes, that, and I'll never diminish it, especially today. It's amazing, no question. But again, emotionally, where you live at the core of yourself, you want to do things that you're great at. And if you're great at something, you want to keep doing it, because the next day, again, if I was really honest with myself, I'm not good at anything else. I'm certainly not great at anything else. And so your life changes so dramatically. I always said it was like falling off a cliff. You're just a bag of broken bones at the bottom when you do quit the thing that you're great at, because the humility that comes with it is brutal. And nobody, that people always say, why can't you quit? Why can't you, that's, give it up. It's like, you give up the thing that you're best at, forever. It's tough. It's tough.
Is it real, the West Coast team going East Coast to play that 1 o'clock game? We saw the Niners against the Vikings. Like, do you remember how real that was when you played?
It was always something. It was always hard to play 10 a.m. Your time when you went across the country. I actually hated the Central games worse, because for whatever reason, noon felt, I know still 10 a.m. my time. Like I get it, Dan. I get the math, but somehow noon hit me wrong, hit me in a different way. So you got a noon kickoff in the Superdome in front of 80,000 crazy people screaming. You can't hear anything. It's like, it's noon. It's like, it's too early for this. I need a couple more hours to get ready for this. But there is something to it. And it's always harder to go west to east. We know that.
Our audience watching on Peacock wants to know if you're in an SUV or a minivan. Let's guess. No, hold on.
Yes. All right.
Todd, SUV or minivan for Steve? A minivan would be bad for the brand, but we'll get to that in a moment. Todd?
Well, I think he's running errands in a minivan.
Minivan. All right. Seaton?
I think it's an SUV.
All right. Marvin?
He's in a GMC.
GMC. Wow. Paulie?
Yeah, 3-row SUV. Steve Young, no minivan.
Yeah, there's no minivan in your life. That's an SUV.
Bro, you just do not know me, man. I roll in the sweetest Toyota Swagger wagon you've ever seen, bro. Come on.
Dang.
It's the Swagger wagon, man. I go thumping by people in the neighborhood. Like, that dude is sweet. 18 cup holders. I got outlets. I can people get in and out of this car. I got 5 ways in and out. This is amazing, this thing.
Wait, Paulie, would you check and see if it's officially called the Swagger wagon?
I'm on the Toyota website. I don't see that model.
Did you create the Swagger wagon?
If you're gonna roll in the van, you better make it Swagger. Because that's how.
I don't think it's thumping in there with you driving. Your daughters have it thumping in there, maybe with the music.
Well, hey, you know what? I've been thumping in it for years, so don't even try it, Dan.
Yes, Paulie.
I'm on the Toyota website. There's an article from 2021. The Toyota Sienna driving the Swagger wagon into 2021.
I started it.
Whoa.
I represent Toyota. I started the Swagger wagon. It's. Do they say it there, Paulie? Do they tell Steve Young started the Swagger
Not
wagon?
officially, but I could feel it. It's about you.
Yeah. All right.
You just don't get enough credit in your life.
Innovation.
Yeah,
I've been innovating my whole life and never
exactly.
get credit, Dan. Screw it.
You were Michael Vick before Michael Vick.
Yeah, screw this. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. I get nothing.
Yeah, you got Montana's shadow. I mean, you had everything there, Steve, and it's just not fair.
It's not right.
Life has not been fair to you.
Yes, it has been a rough ride. From getting out of the mean streets of Greenwich, Connecticut, all the way to today. It is tough.
Thoughts and prayers, man. Thoughts and prayers. You could have probably rushed for 8,000 yards in the NFL. Like if you're playing today.
Yeah, look, we don't want to. You guys are sick of me telling you this, but when they made all the changes for safety and the defense, so they couldn't launch anymore. You see it yesterday if you hit somebody hard, they throw a flag. You cannot launch in any way. It opened up all of the space in the field and made pro football college football. You used to have to go make space. That's why Derrick Henry was famous for a little while, because in the old days in 2017, 16, 15, you had to go make space. Now that space is made for you. And now you just have to go fill it up. And so all the innovative minds like Sean McVay and Kyle Shanahan and Andy Reid, at his age, 67 years old, is dominating because he keeps reinventing himself. And they're innovative every week. They go fill the space. They don't line up in the eye and pound you anymore. It's all getting the ball out in space, and it's amazing to watch. So, and Tom Brady at the end of his career, he says, Tom, how is it compared to the old days? He goes, completely different. Like the middle of the field is unpatrolled. The flats are always open and no one can hit me. And so in that way, even for Tom, it was significantly different, let alone the prototypes of today that can go get all those yards and kind of just dominate. Look, Dan, you've heard me say this. I'm not jealous because that's just a weird word. But do I like watch the game today and go, holy, oh, this is this is what I would dream of. And that everyone say, you're the man. This is exactly what the NFL is all about, is you. Like, I would have dreamed to have someone say that to me back in 1990.
Good to talk to you. Maybe go through your scrapbook today. Feel a little bit better about yourself. Maybe just drive around.
You know what, Dan? I'm over. Look, let's be honest. I know the swagger wagon is mine. I got that. But I don't get credit. It's okay. I don't need credit. I don't need the credit. I don't need to go feel better about. I feel totally fine about, innovation and bringing things into the world and just watching them kind of thrive. And so this is just another one. So don't think that I'm leaving you kind of dejected and down.
Okay. Okay.
I'm super.
How about a round of applause for Steve Young?
Swagger wagon.
You know what? He was Steve Jobs before Steve Jobs.
Yeah.
That's the innovator that Steve Young is.
And I don't have to wear a black
turtleneck.
Yeah,
No.
yeah. I got a number of things in my repertoire, and I can put it on on the parties this weekend with my wife. She's like, "Man, you can do it still." You can just see it in your mind, can't you, Dan?
I don't want to see it in my mind, but it's there. It is.
It was thumping, Dan. It was thumping.
I'm sure it was in the swagger wagon. Thank you, Steve.
Steve Boys.
All right, that's Steve Young.